Now, the Oireachtas is considering calls to make the killing of a pet equivalent to the murder of a human being in law. It comes after a petition asking TDs and senators to debate making unlawful killing a pet an offence akin to murder, not a criminal charge. That was submitted to the Oireachtas Committee on Public Petitions. Go Vegan World Director Sandra Higgins said there's no reason why the law should place a higher value on the life of a human over that of an animal. And she joins us now. Hello to you, Sandra.
Good morning, Declan.
Good morning to you. What's the rationale for this?
I think the petition came from some isolated cases where a pet had been killed, and because of the state that the family are left in, distraught when a family member has been killed, people have petitioned to make killing a pet no longer criminal damage but murder. So the significance of this is that as it stands at the moment, if an animal is harmed, the only harm that's considered in the law is the harm to the human who owns them. Whereas a change to murder akin to the murder of a human would recognise that the animal had feelings and that they themselves were harmed and that they had a life that they valued that was worth living to them that was taken from them, so they were deprived of the future. So in this way, it's very significant. If you think of it, if your only value in law is criminal damage, that is that you're the belongings of the person who owns you, you have no greater standing in the law than a handbag or a car or a table. That's as it stands at the moment.
Does it diminish the status of humans?
Sorry, Declan, it's very difficult to hear you.
Does it diminish the status of humans via animals to possibly have some sort of law like this?
I don't see how it would at all. First of all, in law at the moment, and this is maybe a little bit technical for your listeners, but as it stands, companies are regarded as non-human persons. So are ships, so are bodies of water. If that didn't diminish humans, why would it diminish us if other animals are recognised as having feelings and lives that are worth living in and of their own right, not just the lives that are worth living because of the benefits they provide to us?
Right. So, I mean, what's the chances? Is there any support for this?
I haven't heard how that petition went, but what we would say is that I think most people would accept it. Anybody who has a cat or a dog or a horse or a pony, the animals that are traditionally used as companion animals, and let me say as well that this whole industry is propped up by animal breeders, so that this form of animal use is also unacceptable. But lots of animals are rescued and lots of animals are very much valued as in inverted commas pets. So, you know, if any of your listeners have a pet that they love, you can imagine how distraught you would be if they were killed. But what we would say is all animals, including all the animals that we farm for our use, have the same feelings as pets, and they value their lives just as much as in inverted commas pets do. And that's why we would argue for an expansion of this kind of a petition and this kind of a legal consideration to make it unlawful to kill any animal. But I would also say that laws really reflect social values. So our work at Go Vegan World is more so to educate people to recognise that all the animals we use have the same feelings as the cat and dog that you own. So when you buy a pint of milk, or you eat an egg, or you buy a piece of flesh, or you buy a coat that's made of wool, you're harming somebody as violently as if your own pet was killed.
There's a hierarchy of pets, and I suppose there are laws to treat an animal humanely. So, you know, already humans have seen, you know, their impact on the world in relation to animals and have made these provisions.
Well, these hierarchies are constructed by us, so they're not reality. They're just us imposing our view of what that hierarchy is. And of course, yes, there are animal welfare laws which shows that we have some consideration about the feelings of other animals, but there isn't really any humane way to use another animal, especially there is no humane way to exploit another animal as food. They're bred into dreadful conditions, and even if they lived in glorious conditions, we take their life from them. They have the same feelings as us. They have the same experiences. You know, they get tired, they get cold, they get hungry, they can suffer, they can feel pain, and they can feel joy and have relationships. So they share our fundamental rights. So we're not saying that we give other animals the right to vote, but we are saying that they have the fundamental right not to be used or exploited or harmed or killed by us. And, you know, we can consider this in relation to other groups of humans. Like women didn't always have rights. In fact, you would say that the rights of women are still violated continually. It's still an uphill battle for us. So previously, women's rights were not recognised, and people who advocated for them were denigrated in the same way that animal rights activists are denigrated today when we call for the rights of other animals to be respected. So while those rights are not legally considered right now, we're still advocating for them in the hope that someday they will be. And that, like, if you consider, Declan, you know, it's wrong to kick a dog, and you can be, you know, under the eyes of the law for abusing a dog in that manner. But the reason that most of us don't kick dogs is not because it's illegal. We don't kick them because we know they feel, and we know it would hurt them, and we know that it's morally wrong. So what we're advocating for a situation where we know that it's morally wrong to breed a chicken to over-ovulate and lay an egg every day, or breed a cow to overproduce milk so that her babies are taken from her and the milk is used to feed the human, then the non-vegan human demand for dairy products. That it's not that we will avoid those products and those practices because they're illegal, but we'll avoid them because we know they're morally wrong, which is the definition of veganism.
All right, Sandra Higgins from Go Vegan World. She's director of that organisation.